Welcome to The Lamp, where we shine light on extraordinary businesses and the people building them. I'm your host, Kyan, creator of the Revenue Genie system, because every great business deserves a wish and the light to make it real.
Dennis, I want to start right where your story begins. When we first talked, I was struck by your transition from the high-pressure corporate sports world into the building the Polian Agency. You mentioned having to clean up a tough book, rebuild the process from scratch, and do all of that while trying to be more present for your family, especially when your kids started noticing you weren't around. And you said something powerful. Your goal is freedom, more time for family, and space to pursue your PhD in performance psychology. So let me ask you, what does freedom look like for you today? And how much is that still shaping how you lead your agency?
Wow, that's a great question. I think for me, freedom, there's two things, or two different versions of freedom. The first version is no stress in my business, which will take a long time, because the reality is, if you're going to build something right, whether you're in sports or in business or in like your previous career, service, doing things the right way require time. There's no shortcuts. AI can't treat somebody the right way, can't for you. You know, those kinds of things are on you. And I know that is going to take some time. The other piece, and that obviously that means right revenue and net operating income and being able to support your family without worry. The other freedom is the freedom to make the decision, you know what, my son has a game at 4:00 after school. I'm going to leave work early to go do that, and have the ability to make up whatever work I missed later on in the evening or the next morning. Where in my previous roles working for a team, you, especially in the season, you can't do that. You know, there are processes in place and routines in place to prepare for a game or to prepare for free agency or recruiting, whatever that might be, that you really can't get away. You can't leave the building. And making that transition and owning a small business, I have that freedom now. Now it's up to me to find that balance between making those decisions to be more present with my family and trying to accelerate the financial freedom that comes with a successful business. But it's even though there is stress it's my kids know I'm going to be home on Saturday this week. They know I'm going to be home on Sunday this week. They know that I may not make dinner every night, but I'm making their lunch and I'm taking them to school. That there is a huge level of freedom there, and I think it makes me better as a business owner because I don't have that nagging feeling of missing out on them and them missing out on me.
Makes perfect sense. You know, that foundation and process, that's really the core of how you rebuild. I want to talk about your growth strategy and your system. One thing you said earlier really stuck with me: the difference between the scoreboard and the process. Mm-hmm. The scoreboard can lie. The industry hype can lie too. Yeah. A lot of agencies get pulled into the fast growth trap, heavy ad spend, high volume leads, transactional model. Mm-hmm. But you chose something different. You said you don't want a transactional business. You want something built on empathy, listening, integrity, and real consultation. So let me ask you this, Dennis. In a world pushing speed and volume, how do you stay focused on growth that's actually sustainable and aligned with the culture you're building?
Absolutely. What I've tried to do is mesh.
Yes.
Speed with relational sales. So in our industry, 75% to 80% of transactions now are initiated online. And the marketing spend and the lead purchase volume that's required to convert in a way that you can pay your bills is really difficult to sustain. And I've seen so many cases just in my last year and a half of getting the business going, opening the doors, and now functioning as a business. I've seen 3 in my region fail because they tried to scale, and the cost of that was so far beyond their income and the equity that they had available, to the liquid equity they had available to pay their bills, that they just ran out of runway. And part of that is because the transactional nature of it brought their renewal income down to a level that just couldn't sustain any growth. And as I was watching that, I really made a conscious decision. I felt at the beginning I was moving too slow, but I also purchased a book of business that needed to be reset. Trust needed to be rebuilt with the customer base, and we needed to stabilize. The organization was actually going backwards in policy growth and revenue, and I had to stabilize that first. But because of that, there's no new business momentum, because all of my team was focused on was stabilization and increasing our retention to get it back to our state and regional averages. Now we're there, and now we're moving those going above those averages. And in the meantime, as we started to stabilize, what I realized was there can be a sweet spot in lead purchases where you're buying just enough to give your team the time to follow your process, go through the follow-up touch points, because as you know, you don't sell until touch point 5 to 12 most of the time. There are one call closes, but it doesn't happen often. So you have to follow through. And I just kind of found a sweet spot of how many leads can I put in front of them every week to keep them moving at a pace that allows them to be consultative and apply my process, and still keep the pipeline full and still pay the bills while I go out in the community to the chamber events, to doing community service, to some local boards I'm on, to build that brand identity and bring some trust and integrity to the brand, because it's a new business in the community. It all kind of took a minute, but it worked, and it's still working now. And you're really doing the exact same thing that the people that scale quickly do, except even though it's a little slower, you're doing it with an emphasis on relationships and doing what's right for the customer. And if they don't want that, you don't want them as a customer anyway. Don't waste time, move on. And that's okay, because we're the experts and we know we're doing it right. And if they're price shopping, they're going to leave you anyway. So there's no long-term relationship anyway. And you all you're doing as a salesperson is really just taking a check from the owner and producing things. And as the owner, all you're really doing is creating a hamster wheel that you can't survive on. So that's kind of the angle I took. And for months, I was getting so frustrated looking at those scoreboards from quote unquote, I like to say the regional office, so to speak. Hey, this person's doing this person's doing that. Why aren't you doing that? Failure to launch, all of those things. And I finally realized, well, they're putting pressure on me because they are making money off of my success. So they want me to move faster so they make more. They're not necessarily thinking about my P&L, and it's my business. And as soon as I got comfortable with that, as soon as I remembered, in football, it's all about process. You have to block out the noise. You cannot listen to what's going on social media, in the local news or the national news. You have to block it out, and you have to follow your process. And as soon as that light bulb went off in my head, that is absolutely no different in what I'm doing now. I was able to get way more comfortable about the things I was doing and actually just focus on the KPIs that mattered to my business growing. And I'll be honest, I just delete those emails. I don't even look at them. And when I'm in the meetings and we're in our little regional meetings and everything gets put up on the slide, I start taking notes about something else. I don't even look at it because I'm comfortable with how I'm doing it, because when I'm out in the community or when I talk to customers and they thank me for how my team performed and how they helped them and how wonderful they are to deal with and how responsive they are, it just makes me feel so good as like their coach, essentially, that hey, we're doing the right things, we're building something that's going to last. That's so much more important than what my regional manager for the main provider that I write for is saying, because he's really not thinking about my clients. He's not thinking about my payroll, and he's not thinking about my marketing costs and what my ROI is. The ironic thing too is, I'll tell you this, those people that scale on average, they're converting about 10% to 12% of their quotes and less than 1% of their leads. I'm converting about 23% of my quotes. So
that's amazing.
Your ROI is so much more important in that regard to keeping that momentum going.
Can I ask you this question? With other agencies that are viewing this channel, just starting out, and you being in sports, and you were having a playbook, and I don't want you to give essentially the secret sauce, but if there's one play in your playbook that you can give them to help get into your zone, to help them win, what has helped you? What have you've done to get you to this point in regards to your process?
I think that's a good question. I think, to keep it simple,
yes,
the most important things for us in our daily environment here are movement and mindset. Just do and be positive. Be honest. Those three things. Everything else comes from that. So be positive. Believe in your skills and your abilities. Believe you're here to help people, and just move. Just do something. Get activity. Get on the phone. Answer an email. Just get going. And that gets you into the playbook. I mean, we have a process and we have a system and a cadence, but it's no good if you don't have the positive energy and the belief with it, because it doesn't matter what product you're selling. You get more no's than yeses.
Yes. And if you don't have your head in the game, then you can't win.
And you have to be able to understand that it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the person that you're speaking with. And, that if you don't have that mindset, nothing else matters.
I agree. Any special tools that you guys utilize to help that process?
Yeah, we use a few different things. As the agency owner, I have a handful of tools that I use that I don't share with the rest of the team because I don't want to overcomplicate it for them. But I have two CRMs. We use Agency Zoom for our new business lead management because of the automation in it. And we review our scripts on the emails and the texts every 6 months. And we work with other agencies as well on daily sales role plays and what language is working, what questions are getting yes momentum faster. And we let our staffs like role play with each other. And we do that on Zoom every morning, and that's been phenomenal. The other thing is we have a separate CRM for servicing our policies with our major provider. I'm with Farmers primarily, but Farmers has some great policies where if something doesn't qualify with farmers, I can write it somewhere else. So I've got my farmer CRM for servicing those policies, and then we have Agency Zoom for tracking everything, because we may have something that's not inside the farmer's book, but it also manages our lead flow. So leads come in directly into our producer's pipeline, so they're not having to worry about chasing. And then if I get something in the community, or if we get a referral, I'm going to share it based on that person's particular activity and effort level and how they follow the process. So I use Agency Zoom to track all of that activity, because they integrate with our phone system. They actually integrate with our farmers platform for quoting, so we can bridge. That technology is very, very simple. Then I also have two websites. I have my farmer's website, and then I have a Polian Agency website, as you can see over my shoulder. And that's for Google SEO. And on that website, I've got a blog, and I've got videos, and I've got content going out. And I don't farm that out. It's my name, it's my brand. We're in Central Texas, which is very community oriented. So if somebody sees my name, they want to know about me. They're not necessarily wanting to just talk to anybody when they call in. They may ask for me, and they may ask questions about me. So I put all of those things out for local brand equity and building. But I also post a lot just for Google activity. And we have the contact form and all of that tech stack that I just don't let my staff get involved in it, because it can muddy the water for them. I don't want them thinking. I don't want them worrying about the 25 spokes on the wheel that a business owner has to worry about. So there are other things that I do too that are it's probably too much to talk about in this environment. But the main things are, I've got a marketing tool for online marketing and organic posting, and then I've got the lead management CRM for sales, and then I've got our farmer CRM for service and management.
Fantastic. I love that. And honestly, this is where your perfectionism becomes a strength. Your process matters more than the noise, but the one thing that only gets in the way is the human inconsistency, right?
Exactly right.
Hiring, turnover, retraining, looking through resumes, trying to find somebody that you need to replace. And that's where AI and automation aren't shortcuts. They're tools to protect your standards and your sanity, right?
Exactly right.
So let's talk about the future. Mm-hmm. You said you want an agency that can run without you, where the repetitive work is handled automatically and you can focus on coaching, leading, and building your legacy. So let me ask you, Dennis, when you look 3 to 5 years ahead, what does freedom look like for you? And what part of the agency is blocking that freedom right now?
The 5 years from now, freedom would be, I'm at a size, scale-wise, where I've got a general manager in here every day, and my PhD in performance psychology is done, and I'm working on coaching people in insurance, coaching high school coaches and athletes, using that performance psychology degree, and the agency is performing well where it's paying me, but it's also paying my staff, where we're getting annual bonuses and profit sharing going and things like that. But I have to have a general manager, because like you said, AI can do so many wonderful things, but somebody's got to keep their eye on it and make sure that the context is right, and make sure what we're measuring is relevant, because that always changes. And you have to tell the machine that changed. And then, so it's another person that you're managing, but it's a person that can do things 24/7. And I want to have somebody in that position doing that, so I don't have to worry about it. And I'm coaching them, and then they're coaching the rest of the team. And you have to be patient, though, in getting to that, because it doesn't happen overnight. because automation is also an evolution, and the algorithms are so smart. So if you are not authentic about how you approach it and apply it, Google's going to know. They're going to know. Microsoft is going to know. Your emails will then become spam. Your texts will then become spam. So you can't just press a button or buy one of those monthly services, we do it all for you, deals, and walk away and think there's going to be no management requirement there. And I feel like I can't let go of that until I've built it and I'm comfortable with how we manage it and how the flow goes. And that's why I say 5 years versus 3 years, because in the meantime, we still have to sell. We still have to work our process and generate a brand that people want to come in. The AI is not going to matter if the copy's not good. The automation doesn't matter. If the content on Instagram isn't good, it's not going to matter, right? So you still have to do all of those things, and I feel like we're just like on the first set of steps on that climb, but it's all been positive, and as you know, it's going to change in 6 months. It's going to look different, and we have to pivot and have that kind of like, oh wow, and like, it can do this too. Let's go. Let's make that change. And I like to be involved in that, on the front end.
Absolutely. Makes perfect sense. And thank you for that. Thank you for that vision for the future. And I really feel it's very attainable for you, especially how you operate. Dennis, we do this with every guest on the lab. If you see this thing here, that's right.
That's awesome.
That's right. It's my little genie lamp. So if you could rub the lamp and grant yourself 3 business wishes, 3 things that if fixed would move the agency forward immediately, what would those 3 wishes be?
An acceleration of my ranking on Google without paying for it. Let's see. What else? I have one particular staff member that's been with me from the start. And for him to get over the hump, over the belief hump, and he's very young, but he's super talented and he's produced a lot. Get him over the hump where now he's an extension of me philosophically and effort and activity. And then the third thing would be that I win Mega Millions and can buy my own building and not pay rent to somebody else.
That's awesome. Well, the lamp hears you, and I'm going to put it away. But before we close out, I want to give you a moment to shine some light on your agency. For anyone listening who wants a high integrity agency that leads with empathy and listening, what does the Polian Agency specialize in, and who are you best positioned to help?
We are best positioned to help folks who, young couples who've just purchased a house and don't have life insurance. I went through that in my late 40s when I started insurance. I didn't have life insurance. I had that really poor policy from my employer. We sell home, auto, life, and commercial. But the type of client that suits us best is the type of person that wants to understand the financial impact insurance can have if you're undercovered, overcovered, don't have the appropriate amount of life insurance for your partner, and you're willing to explore those things. We are licensed in Texas for all lines, and we are actually licensed in Ohio, North Carolina, and Virginia for life. So anybody in those states who wants to talk about life products, we can help them. And the life insurance is important to me because I had a cancer scare a few years ago and did not have life insurance. And now I'm paying through the roof because of that cancer. I was lucky to still get a policy, but young families who don't understand the value of it, they should reach out to us, because that's the one moment where you're going to deal with me. I don't let anybody else sell life insurance in the agency because of my story. And I don't want it to be inauthentic. People need to understand how important it is. And our life products with Farmers Insurance are phenomenal. We have term products and index universal life products, and that's it. And our index life policy, there's no losses. It's guaranteed no growth or positive growth. And that's different from a lot of carriers, because people think IUL and they think I could lose money because of the stock market. Not with our product. Our product does not put the losses onto your policy if the market loses. You only get the gains. So it's a phenomenal product to supplement retirement. And that's one thing that the Polian Agency focuses on, for folks who need to, who may not, they have a 401k at work, but they might, if you have an extra $50 a month and you're 24 years old, you might have a great tax-free supplement, not a retirement answer, a supplement to your retirement later on down the road with a death benefit that can cover mortgage, cover income, things like that. That is beyond regular home and auto and commercial for business owners. That is so important to me. And I appreciate you giving me the platform to mention that.
Absolutely. This is your light, and I want you to shine. So for people that want to reach out and connect with you, where's the best place that they can find you? They
can find me on Facebook. You just Dennis Polian, and you'll see me on IG, LinkedIn, Facebook, PolianAgency.com, and all of our phone numbers there. But I'm active every day in the socials. So if you hit me in LinkedIn or DM me on IG or Facebook, you're going to hear from me. It's actually not automated because I'm in there so much, and I like the back and forth.
That's great. I'll definitely put that in the links with the podcast so people can find you. Dennis, thank you again for joining me and for sharing your light with us today. Your vision, authenticity, and leadership are exactly what this show is all about. I'm your host, Kyan Lewis, and this has been The Lamp, where we shine light on extraordinary businesses and the people building them.
This is where business meets its destiny. Under the lamp, we set each vision free. Grant your wish, let success take flight. Catch the beat, your future's looking bright.